This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the host or affiliate content providers. The information shared is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, including but not limited to medical, psychological, or coaching services. Listeners are encouraged to consult with their qualified practitioners for guidance tailored to their personal needs and circumstances. Scientifically, we retain 5% of what we hear. We retain another 10% of what we hear and write down, and we retain up to 95% of the things that we hear, write, and then say or teach to others. And so, you are totally wrapped in the blessings and the lessons and the teachings, the energy that you're experiencing from your, renewed relationship in the church. And that's codified by the fact that you are teaching, right? You're not just
I've learned
receiving.
so much being a Sunday school teacher.
Yes.
I've learned so
this
much.
This is replenishing. This is one of the major things. So I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yeah, it's the number one thing. It's literally the number one thing. I mean, God is so good. I'm like, I really, there's no other way to put it. Like I'm totally sold out. I mean, yeah, it's the number one thing. I do still have a form of therapy. My career coach kind of doubles as a therapist because most of the time we're talking about my personal life anyway.
I know I have an executive coach too, and it's like there's no way to separate the two.
Yeah.
A therapist, I have an executive coach, and yes, I was talking to her today about, we were saying we were going to get some reps about some of the, executive leadership goals that we talked about, or tactics, how I'm going to get my reps in through my kids. Like, my children present opportunities for me to practice the emotional intelligence that, I'm developing and practice. Today, this was like a light bulb moment for me. And I'm going to get back to what you talk about, but I have to purge this before I forget. Is sort of increasing your neural pathways when you're like under stress or in a thing, by starting your conversation or your part of the conversation with what you want the outcome to be. So for instance, let's say, like, my son he just like left his clothes on the floor. What sort of innate to me would be like, why you leave your clothes on the floor? Come pick up the clothes. None of that speaks to the outcome that I want. And the outcome that I want is actually for my son to be a responsible member of the household. And also to mature in a way where I don't even have to remind him of that. That's actually what I want. But when I start with how I feel and what I'm angry about, number one, that, makes me go down a spiral of emotional intelligence, because now that's liable to go in a number of different ways. And I'm not approaching it in a goal-oriented way, because the goal of that conversation is not to yell at my son or potentially say something that might distract him from being the best that he can. And so when we talked about that today, and it kind of just came out in natural conversation, I was like, that is mind-blowing to me. It's so simple, but every time I'm going to try to stop and enter like my response with what I actually would like to happen here is this. And just literally that little divergence in the beginning can set you on a path to getting what you want without the emotional labor of being hyped up, angry yourself, ripping down or pulling down the person who you're trying to communicate with. And so this was life-changing today. So that's what I got from my executive coach today. And it is, so we talked about getting the reps in my interactions with my children, and they give me a million opportunities a day to work on the stuff I need to. But I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's so good. I don't even know what I was saying.
But you were saying you have an executive, you have a career coach, you have your therapy.
Yeah, I was
temperature.
doing both for a long time because I just had my same therapist that had been working with me for the past several years, and
Mm.
then my job came with the career coach,
Oh, that's
and
great.
I noticed that I was just saying the same things to both of them
Right.
in every session, and it was becoming a lot to be in therapy so much because I had to, and so of course I just stuck with the one that was free.
I was being paid for. Yeah, my company pays for mine too, so I only have to do too.
Yeah. But the one that I was paying for, I mean, she was amazing. So,
Yeah.
that's no shade to her. She got me through a really, really dark time. Like I said, I'm also the third thing is just better at deciding where I want to spend my time and how I want to spend my time. And um having a lot of my time has been given back to me this past year, right? So I left a job that had me stretched very thin on time and the ability to sleep. And now I'm
Mm.
at a job where it's pretty much 8:30 to 5:30. Maybe if
Mhm.
something big is coming up, I will have to work longer. I'm
Right.
also used to that, so that's not ever an issue.
Yeah.
But just the requirement of time is just much lower on this job. Um, I am healing myself and whole again after a really traumatic relationship. And so
Yeah.
I'm finding a lot of wholeness and singleness. I like to take myself out on dates. I just bought tickets to a comedy show on Saturday for
You need to
myself.
be taking me out. I'll be your date. I'll come down and be your date.
But I like doing what I want to do without someone in my ear telling me what they don't like about this experience, or it could have been like that, or it should have been like that. I just want to go. I concerts. I will go to one by myself very fast,
I love that.
very very
I
fast.
love that.
And I
You
never
never
thought I,
listen, and you never know what I mean, I'm not just talking about a man or anything, but you never know what you might run into when you just
yeah, I've been to
out.
comedy shows by myself before, and I've had people try to say something.
It's
Um,
very sexy.
like, I never saw myself as one of a girl who would like go out and do things by herself, especially because I'm a very petite woman and people scary and you can't really take weapons and defend
Jujitsu girl, listen, I'm gonna put you on, girl. That jujitsu have you walking like you 6 feet tall. Like I
well,
wish
maybe I need to do that because
when
usually
you
I just
come
have
back up to DC, you're gonna come to jujitsu training with me. And when I
okay,
tell
I'll
you
let you know next time I'm
empowered,
there because my mom actually lives in DC now. So
oh
I'll be coming
yeah,
up there. I know, girl, it's crazy.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I find enjoyment in that. I have my circle of friends in my villages is more curated now.
Mm-hmm,
I even I have like my day ones that are here in the city, but I'm
mm-hmm,
slowly developing a curated group of women, God
mm-hmm,
fearing women,
mm-hmm,
real down to earth,
mm-hmm.
you know, similar, not I won't say outlook on life, but like just my speed.
Yeah,
They're just my speed of
good
women.
fits. Good fits for where you are right now.
Exactly.
And
Good fits
that's
for where
that
I am right
climate we
now.
were talking about. That's that
Yeah.
climate we're talking about. It's no shade. It's no drama behind that. As you change and as you shift, there are going to be positive shifts toward you, and there are going to be positive shifts away from you. What I mean by
Mhm.
that is sometimes the shift need to happen. Sometimes who you are and sort of like what who you are and what you are at the forefront. Like we always are who we are, but like in some instances, I show up more as a maternal figure. In some instances,
Mhm.
I show up more as like a boss. In some
Mhm.
respects, I'm shown more like a girl, like whatever. As we're making those shifts and different parts of our identity are coming to the forefront,
Yeah.
we there's shifts going on around us that either
Yeah.
keep us in that space or pull us out of that space. And so depending
Yeah.
on what your goal is, either to remain as such or to steer away from such, that's going to happen. And there's no guilt or drama behind that. It just
Yeah.
is what it has to be.
It's nice having community in the city because, like I said, I have like a couple day ones, but because I was away for 10 years doing all that
Yeah.
schooling, so that's kind of what I had. And my day ones are my day ones. Like my best friend from high school, she's we're really similar. We both went to law school, we both became lawyers. We also have a lot of the same thought processes in the way of seeing life. And
Right.
my god sister, she's just like family. We motivate each other and are definitely sisters in Christ as well. But I really didn't have a community here. And so it's been
Mm-hmm.
nice also in my singleness again to develop that sense of community, sisterhood, and woman, womanhood in this here at
Yeah.
home. So I just feel rooted here, in a way. And because I have friends in DC and in New York, I'll make time to. A lot of us are having like big life events now, so we'll see each other
Mhm.
around the life events, and FaceTime is a thing, so you stay
Right.
in contact that way. But as far as like what feeds me on a day to day basis, it's the three things that we just talked about:
You
spirituality, therapy, and having a good sense of community.
community. Those are nuggets. Community, therapy, and spirituality. I took a lot of notes when you were talking because they just triggered things. First, before
Mhm.
I ask you some questions, I just want to reiterate how, like, when I see you, I just think of a woman with so many layers, really
Yeah.
great layers. And
Yeah.
you've always really walked courageously to me. Like, you're one of the most courageous. Even the stories and the aspects of your life that you have decided to share today is a supreme exhibition of courage. And I just want to give you some flowers today to let you know. I've always seen that in you. You have an immense amount of courage, but I admire the layers that you bring. And I mean, you're like an extrovert and an introvert at the same
I
time. Layers.
am. I
Uh,
am. I'm
you were
master.
in high heel shoes swinging around my pole, but then briefing cases and get ready for trial at the same. That's layers, girl. That's
Mhm.
versatility, and you could be sitting at a boardroom or sitting in the club, like whatever. I love that. And again,
Mhm.
I was always kind of connected to you in that way. You talked about healing process, you talked about
Mhm.
stillness, you talked about time. When you said the stillness piece, it made me think my son's Benedictine school has some just really great philosophies. In my last episode, I talked about the philosophy of today we start again, and it's
Mm.
this grace that you extend
Yeah.
yourself to, like, okay, let go of the past, let go of yesterday, let go of whenever, because today I have an opportunity to be who I want to be in the way that I
Mhm.
want to be, and that's great.
Mhm.
But one shout outs to Father Ignacio, is one of the monks who lives on that campus, and he was my son's religion teacher when he was in 6th grade. And what he says is we find God in stillness. We
Mhm.
find God in stillness. And I
Yeah.
was like, because the campus is really serene
Mhm.
and really just has these really just like peaceful,
Yeah.
normal aspects to it. It doesn't have a lot of pomp and circumstance. And very
Mhm.
much I find that is true.
Yeah.
Stillness. Like you, I got back a lot of time this year.
Mm.
So my world went from almost busting out of the seams, doing the mother thing, getting up, 6 o'clock, 6:30, making sure the boys are in school, coming back home, making sure my dad was fed and he was set up for his care, his, external caregivers to come, going to work when I was at work, coming home, picking up the children, trying to help with homework, making sure that in a relationship at that time, trying to be attentive, to that person. And then
Mhm.
in school, in intense school, my program is a 5-year program that's pretty much condensed into 15 months.
Mhm.
So, an additional 40 to 60 hours of reading, research, and writing a week, and all. So busting out the seams. And, um, my dad passing, um, not only was that time back, but there was some stillness. And that fact, actually in the beginning, that stillness was very eerie
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
when you're traumatized, when you're going through those things,
Yeah.
and I wasn't diagnosed with depression, but I know I was depressed. I know
Mhm.
it. I know it. But being in silence with your own thoughts
Mhm.
was depressing. It
Mhm.
was stifling. It was stunning. You
Mhm.
just laying there and you're trying. And it made me understand the plight of people who have drug or alcohol addictions, any
Mhm.
addictions,
Mhm.
where you just want 5 seconds of reprieve. That's all. I don't want to feel overwhelmed like my heart is about to bust out of my chest. I don't want to cry anymore. And in that moment, it helped me, acquire grace. I'm a person who has never smoked, never done drugs, doesn't drink that much. And so I
Mhm.
couldn't connect with that plight, but going through such palpable pain that no meditation, it felt like no meditation, no conversation with a therapist, nothing would cure. It made me understand that. So anyway, going back to that stillness, I very much agree that healing and growth
Mhm.
happens in some degree of stillness. So dad
Yeah.
passed away, that earned me some time and stillness back. um the boys are a year older and more independent.
Yeah.
Went through a breakup, and that's loss, but I gained a lot, right?
Mhm.
I gained a
Yeah.
lot. And I definitely gained some stillness and some
Mhm.
time back.
Mhm.
I'm at the tail end of my degree program. I graduate in December, and so yay, I know, I'm excited. um and but I gained some time back because it's
Mhm.
not in its intense portion of the degree. And so one of the things that I wanted to ask you, listening to your story and knowing that I struggle with this, is what do you plan to do? What's your, 30, 60, 90 day, or even year or 5 year plan to do? What do you plan to do with this stillness? Or is your plan to maintain it? Is your plan to add some new things in? What are you going to do with this?
I mean, intentionally added things. I hope not.
Okay.
But um, I will just say that I into the point of stillness, that is where I found my biggest transition. The way I transitioned from that last job to this job was I went out on medical leave. I needed really a minor surgery on my wrist, and I
Mm,
milked it. I really did.
mhm.
Look, I was like, Doc, how much time will it take to recover? Okay, give
Right,
me all of that.
right,
And it was in that time that I really did start picking more back up on the sermons and really finding that stillness.
right.
Um, and so I think to maintain it, honestly, Michaela, it is in the moments that I set aside time to be with God.
Mm,
I still have a journal. I am very consistent. I have my pastor here that I attend those sermons in person most Sundays
right.
whenever I'm in town. And then if I miss something or feel like I didn't catch it all in church, I'll go back and rewatch those. I have a pastor I follow in Houston. They each have Bible studies, one on Wednesday, one on Thursday. I tune into that. Sometimes I
Mhm.
just go on YouTube and something pop up. It's usually something that was for me. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I mostly there are times where I wanna be an R&B girly and listen to my R&B music, or if I'm getting ready for the Beyonce concert, Imma have my Beyonce radio on, but most of the time, I am listening to, meditating to, getting ready to, cooking to, cleaning to gospel music. It is not
Mm,
I've found contemporary gospel music. It's not always the old school stuff. It's stuff that actually
mhm.
speaks to me for what I like and
Right.
keeps my mind in the right place for the message of what the music is talking about. Because I have found that music does a lot to cause unrest and really set the tone of
Yes.
your life. I
Yes.
will say that like in college, I found that music, I never used hard drugs, but I found that genre of music that was about drugs and
Pop and
that
Molly, da da da.
well, not even that, because I'm not a I mean, I know hip hop because
Yeah.
I live in the culture, but I'm really like a neo soul R&B
Mm,
type of I like things that just put me in a relaxed state,
right,
trance-y like music. So it was
right.
the people who were out at the time, like The Weeknd, or all he talked about is doing drugs.
Yeah.
And Janae Aiko at that time, her music was very heavy on
I
that
like
as
her.
well. I love her. I mean, she's
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite,
She's deep. Hmm.
soul lo-fi girlies or whatever. How I don't know what they neo soul
Right.
R&B
Right.
girlies. Um, and that music also talks a lot about sex, lust,
Mm.
relationships, just things that are kind of opposite of what the doctrine that God has laid out for us in the Bible. But it's cool. It's sometimes it's nice to listen to some Summer Walker and she's talking about how toxic that man is. Like,
Yes.
but I don't want that for my real life. And so I've
Right.
learned that recalibrating what I am listening to has really kept me in a place of stillness. Um,
Mm.
you've talked about a couple times in the very beginning, and then the last thing you said, you've talked a little bit about like soil and like um, that kind of brings also to me some of the messages that have really pulled me through this whole time period of my life, like about a lot of I don't even need this. A lot of the things that we do are planting seeds. A lot
Yes.
of things that we expose ourselves to are planting seeds. And the more we do them that and ruminate on them, it's like watering the seed. And whatever
Yes.
seeds that we water in our lives will be the ones that grow. And I have
Yeah.
made a very intentional shift at watering seeds that will help me be better. And
Yeah.
so that if that means the music has a change, that means I'm not watching certain television shows anymore, and instead I'm focusing on something that's going to be
Yeah.
uplifting or therapeutic, then that's what that is. I've also fasted several times since I've
Mm.
gotten closer to God, and it has really taught me a lot about discipline and how to tell my flesh no.
Right.
So it is in those type of practices that I find stillness, and I think I will maintain stillness.
I
Um,
agree with you on the music part. And like, as you go through the various stages of grief, when you're going through a breakup or a loss or any trauma, um, there are feelings of anger, and then there are
mhm,
feelings of vengeance, and then there are tons of feelings of sadness and regret, and then some guilt and things like that. And I realized the same thing. Like certain days, I was in the mood for Keisha Cole and Foxy Brown, like and Glorilla. It's like,
mhm,
and
yeah,
then and on other days, it when I was a little bit more all right, listen to that music would actually take me back to that other stage of grief that I
mhm,
kind of had evolved out of for that
yeah,
day. It's not to say I won't come back to that. And so what I found was, and even I needed this variety in my meditations, because some of the meditations that I really found helpful were like about heartbreak and things
mhm,
like that. And
mhm,
so on days where I needed to feel vindicated in my feelings of like sorrow, heartbreak, that was appropriate. But on days where I was feeling a little different, was feeling um energized or whatever, I needed to change my meditation. But I found meditation to be a pretty consistent approach to easing my mind. I commonly fall asleep, which for me is a complete indicator that my mind is at ease, because I'm one of those people, and that's actually normal for everyone. So like, stress is received as fear in your body,
mhm,
and so when you're stressed out, your body is prepping for fight or flight. And so who's
yeah,
going to fall asleep when they're either about to fight or flee? So meditation has been like one of the key things for me, as you work through that grieving process. And music, for sure, music is
mhm,
very healing, but you have to be selective about it, like you said.
mhm,
And for me, one of the reasons that I started this show is the third thing for me were my people. Like my
mhm,
people were probably, it's up there. It was, I mean, because people are not in your space all the time, so the meditation
mhm,
and the music was definitely a solo endeavor. Even if I didn't have the energy or the capacity to respond, or the desire to respond, knowing that I just had so many people who genuinely wanted to be there for me, were sending their positive energy and their supportive energy to me via phone, via mail, in person, dropping off food, things like that. it just really reiterated for me that I just have amazing friends.
Mhm.
And they're not only amazing because they have, track records like yours, the education, the careers. I mean, my circle of friends is really impressive. They are most impressive because they are caring, thoughtful, um, contributors to the relationship that I have with them, and they're not just out there resting on the fact that they're the bomb in their respective circles. Like, I have good humans as
Mhm.
really close, good friends, and that was important. And that it kind of it really was brought home to me during that. Like, I really was held down by my people in different ways. Like,
Yeah.
certain people I only spoke to once because I wasn't answering calls, but like what they gave me in that one encounter,
Yeah.
it got me through that day,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, those were my three.
Yeah.
Spirituality has always been sort of a interesting thing. My son woke up or had a conversation with me about a year ago talking about he's an atheist. And I was like, wait, what? Like, how'd that happen? And then I
Mhm.
made some little snark comment like, you're not allowed to be an atheist. And he was like, but I am.
Mhm.
And I was like, you really are. I think he has now acknowledged that he's more agnostic than
Mm.
atheist, because he acknowledges that, like, something is the reason for all like these things.
Mhm.
With me, I grew up in the church, I'm baptized. We have Baptist roots, but grew up in a Lutheran church and things
Mhm.
like that. And my steps have always been guided. I've always had a cloak of protection around me.
Mhm.
There are many, many turns of life, or many points in my life where it could have gone this way, but it went that way.
Yeah.
And it went that way. And this was a major success. But if it had even pivoted a little bit this way, I could have been someone's daughter in an alley with a, syringe up my, in my veins. Like,
Mhm.
it could have,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
So I know that my steps are guided. I know there is a higher power that has pulled me out of situations that I didn't have the strength or the knowledge, or the activation to pull myself out of. And so from that perspective, I have a strong sense of spirituality. And you even put it like that. You didn't talk about religion per se. You said spirituality. And I think that though I didn't intentionally lean into spirituality, there was this confidence that even though I was at the low of lows and in my grief, that life and the higher power has always proven to me that they got me. So this
Mhm.
too shall pass. And all I had to do was focus on endurance. If I
Mhm.
could just do the things that I could do and get through this, work on my endurance, that there was a higher power working on my behalf to make sure that I was going to come on the other side of this. And I'm on the other side of it. And that's been very powerful. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. For me, the spirituality or religious piece, I feel like it's just taught me so much more about it's not a one directional relationship. It is something
Yeah.
that you have to pour into,
Yeah.
not to receive, but so that you can receive,
Right.
if I can make a distinction between the two. Um, so yeah, and I just really encourage, people who don't have that relationship with God to explore it for themselves,
Mhm.
because um, those who seek Him out, He will pull closer to Him, and that's
Mhm.
definitely what happened in my case. He's not
Mhm.
an enigma. It's all you have to do is have the desire, and He knows the desires of your heart, and if you look for Him, He will reveal Himself to you. So.
Yeah, I believe that.
Mhm.
Um, I love that you go out on dates. I was thinking, see, I'm so bougie. I'm so used to getting taken out on dates. I'm like, ooh. I was
Really?
thinking, like, I love brunches, and our city, DC is just
Yeah,
in a social, social lights and social light gatherings, and you can
yeah.
do brunch here. And I was just thinking, like, part of that, part of the way you reclaim normalcy is just exposure. And
Mhm.
there's not a lot of growth that can happen inside a house
Mhm.
with minimal social interaction. So
Mhm.
I love that you do that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll take a trip down to ATL soon, and I can crash your solo party for at least a day or two.
Yeah, do it, do it. I mean, I do have a mixed group of friends too. I have guy and girl friends too. So I'm one of my really
Yeah,
good friends from law school. A guy lives down here. He's from here, and we both moved back, and so hang out with him too. So it's like I have guy friends around. Um, I'm just really I needed to rebuild myself back up, know who I
yeah,
was before I try to start dating again, know what I will and will not tolerate,
right.
and just have a standard for myself to enjoy life without that hinging on whether or not I have a partner. Ultimately, do I want to have a partner?
Of
Yeah, for
course.
sure.
Right.
I've always wanted the husband, the babies, and the white picket
Yep.
fence. Not literally, but I've always wanted to build my life with somebody. But I think, and I don't know. I know, and I truly believe that God has used this time period to give me discernment about what that looks like, who I'm looking for, and what qualities that man has. Um, and I don't know when I'll be exactly ready to like jump in the pool right now. I might stick my toe in just a little bit,
You a
but
catch girl. I can't even believe these ATL and DC men even let you get out. Like, seriously, this girl's a lawyer.
girl,
She's
the thing is,
educated. She got
the
her own. She's INDEPENDENT. You know what I mean? Like, she's all of those
all of
things.
that. Yeah,
So
all of that.
she can
I
work
think
a
I learned less when
poll.
I started
What?
meeting people in public because as long as I met people through somebody or within community,
Yeah.
it weren't that bad of
Yeah.
guys. Like our
Yeah.
relationships broke down for their own reasons. Most of the
Yeah.
time it was because long distance. But it's when I
Yeah.
started meeting these men with no context.
That's what it is, girl. And that's the thing with all I dated. No shade. It's that it's the connection. It
Mm-hmm.
really is. And that's why the going out and things like that. I have a couple really good guy friends who have been my friends for like 20 years and things like that. And I feel like I have met like like going out with them is interesting. I feel like I meet people when I go out with them because men are trifling too. So they see you see you with a guy and then you still looking at them. But no, going out, exposing yourself, your friend groups are really important. But the one thing I want to add to what you said about the clarity that you're getting from this time
Mm-hmm.
on your own and what God is teaching you about the partner
Mm-hmm.
that is a good fit in this time, you're also becoming a vessel to
Yeah.
receive that partner. You're
Yeah.
not done with your healing yet.
Yeah.
You could find the right partner right now, but if you're not um, properly, thoroughly healed,
Right.
then you will play a role in the sabotage of that
Sabotage.
relationship.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And so, the most important thing about this individual time that you have, and even the individual time that I have, is that we are building up resilience, we're building up growth so that we can bring our best self to the partner who is, going to reciprocate that.
Yeah.
And so, that, sometimes it's a longer process than, we physically and emotionally desire, but it is the necessary process
Mm-hmm.
for that. So, I love that you're getting this time. I love that you're not rushing. You will have all the things that you want, husband and
I
kids. And
truly believe that. I
I,
really don't have a doubt in my mind. I truly, truly believe that.
yep, you will
Yeah.
have that. So, but you want to have it in not a performative way.
Right.
Want to have it in a sustaining way, in a way that allows you to get the feelings from that. It's not just I want to have a husband and have kids. Like
Mhm.
anybody can go have kids and somebody can put up with whatever and have a husband. You want the outcome. You
Mhm.
want that feeling of security and
Mhm.
exhibitions of love and consistency and
Mhm.
stability and the ability to be soft.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
because I'm
was
a
telling
girl,
one of
I
my
can do it all by
friends,
myself, but who wants to do that?
you could,
I
all of
could,
us
but
could, but
yeah, but
like that's no.
yeah,
Why would you want to? That's no.
exactly.
I was telling one of my guy friends, I'm like, listen, I just want to be soft. I want
Mhm.
to feel secure and I want to be stable. That's
Yep.
it. I don't
That's
need
it.
nothing else. I got
That's
everything
it.
else. And you can't create security and stability by yourself.
Mhm.
You can set yourself up for that, but other people play a role in that. You can't even be soft by yourself if you're naturally a strong Black woman.
Yeah.
People have to um, you have to earn the trust of that. Like they have to create a space where they signal to you that
Mhm.
you can let down your guards and your defenses because they are going to take on some of that strength that you have burdened yourself with. And
Yeah.
until we see that and believe that, we're going to always lean into our strength.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is. That was one of the, when I think about 20-year-old and 30-year-old Michaela, that was a part of the self-awareness that I didn't have.
Mm.
And that was because I didn't have that self-awareness, I couldn't extend that grace to my partner and my
Mm.
partners at the time. I was dating people that weren't capable of taking on the things that I was taking on, but I was expecting them to give me security and stability.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was looking for things that did not feed stability and security, but then expecting them to provide me with that. And
Mhm.
now at, again, 44 going on 45, I say less and I observe
Yeah.
what is this person doing
Yeah.
um, in this space, not saying what are they doing that tells me that right here and now, like the person that I'm dating right in front of me, not the person that I'm dating in the future, the person
Mhm.
that who he was. Who is
Mhm.
this person right in front of me? And could I are my desires to be stable, safe, and soft? Am I seeing that in this person right now?
Yeah.
That's the shift. At 20 and 30, I was dating and shoot, 42. I was like, oh, this person, I could see this person doing all of that. And I
Yeah.
have faith in this person to do that. But the person in front of me was actually saying something else and doing
Yeah.
something else.
For sure. I
So
definitely lived that. And for me, most of the men I've dated have been good and really could have been they had good aspects about them. But
yeah.
yeah, the more recent things I've been through, I totally had to recalibrate what I was willing to tolerate.
And what's your look like for real? There's a lot of culpability on us, right? There
Yeah.
is some not guilt. It's like you're dynamic. Like you
Mhm.
know it because you know it, but you know it because we tell you that. And so there is this thing like, damn, am I like setting the bar too high? Because everybody's not going to be like D. Everybody's not going to
Uh-huh.
be like whatever. And
Yeah.
so there's this whole idea of not being too much.
Yep.
Like
Oh, for
you're
sure.
educated Black women, like you asking
Too
too much. No, you're not.
intimidating.
No,
Yeah.
you're not. You're not asking for too much, and sort of like a diminishing of yourselves to
Yeah.
suit the pool that's in front of you, and it
Yeah.
just
Or
takes a little
or
bit of patience.
maintain humility about,
Yeah,
not put yourself too high on a pedestal, blah blah blah. Yeah, that was I've
I talked about this in a previous show. I was saying that I don't think either it wasn't taught to me or I didn't listen to it. I don't think it was taught to me. It was like we're taught as women to look for loving, caring men in a lot of cases, someone who respects your body, da 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 da. And that is true, all of it.
mhm.
Women like you and I, there's another level, there's a deeper level of searching and find that we need. And being highly intellectual, needing, like again, cerebral and intellectual stimulation, needing a certain level of like emotional intelligence and emotional maturity again to create those spaces of safety, security, and softness. That's like an advanced skill set.
Mhm.
And so, what we can't do is set our goals to average women because we're not average women. And that's not a pompous statement. It is what it is.
Mhm.
Okay. You don't live the life that you lived, have the experiences you had, have the education, have the world's, exposure and be mediocre. You're not that. And
Yeah.
so when we're out in those social gatherings, we can't just look for the handsome guy who's in shape, who has a good job. We have to start looking for people who have healthy relationships with the women in their life,
Yes.
namely their mother.
Yes.
We have
Who
to
have
start
community around them.
looking for men who don't, on the second and third date, start sending you sexy pictures of themselves.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm
Looking
not
for
into that.
men out there that you know, communicate, that you can disagree with, and they're able to communicate. And most importantly, men that want to pursue you and shower you with attention. Not, it don't have to be money. Attention. I like simple things like text me in the morning. Like,
Mhm.
I want to be, send me a 6 o'clock text. I love that. To me,
Mhm.
it's not the only thing, but it shows me that like you thinking about me first thing in the morning. Send me a good night text. Like stuff like that. I definitely am a more quieter dater now. I listen, I let them
Yeah.
talk. So yeah, we're not taught to be that way. We're actually taught to like not expect all that, because you're gonna be single for the rest of your life. And I'm, yeah, I married based off of trying to be simple, and very much landed a man who loved me and who loved the idea of family and all those things. Great guy.
Yeah.
But I didn't apply an advanced level of scrutiny and screening the way you would hire the VP or your partner of a law firm or the CEO. Like, we're on that level where
Right.
you have to screen for senior level talent.
Yeah.
And we're up here, screening for not that. I'm not gonna put anybody's position down, but you know what I mean. So
Right.
yeah. There's a
Yeah.
pool out there. It's just that we have Paul Pierce is getting some flack because he was telling ballers, I think last week, he was saying y'all need to quit trying to chase these dime pieces that is spilling out of their pants this way, and
Mhm.
the tens, and you need to get you a strong 5'6" that to put some elbow grease in it. And
Mhm.
of course, in layman's terms, it's like, stop going for the arm candy and the girls who got the big booties and all of that stuff, whatever you associate with beauty, and like, go get you somebody that's going to hold you down and who's
Yeah.
going to be there when you lose your looks and you lose your
Right.
money and all that.
Right.
And I think that I'm taking a cue from that, because like I have a very high propensity to date a certain type.
Mhm. Girl, me
Like,
too. Me too.
yeah, like the muscles have to be
I love
popping.
a muscle. I
You
don't.
gotta look good in the photos we go and take, and that. And not to say that I'm not attracted, I am, but I think I could live with a really strong 7'8" who has.
I
If
mean,
I,
I've always been a looks don't matter that much, but that's just what I do tend to attractive men.
right.
It don't matter that much. It matter a little bit. I mean, at
Yeah,
least
I know.
I do
I
want you to
think.
be a little fit because if you look, both I'm always on a fitness journey, and
Yeah,
much like you, right?
yeah,
And I
yeah.
can't have nobody that's gonna pull me too far away from that. Like we need to be able to do this together.
Yeah, well, my whole thing is when all my emotional intelligence goes out the window, you got to keep me entertained for a little bit with the aesthetic.
Oh my goodness.
If I can't like what I'm looking at, when my emotional intelligence goes out the window, it's about to be a wrap. So,
Yeah, not the most important thing. I do have like my priorities in order now, God first, what's your community look like? Like you said, what's your
right.
relationship with women in your life look like?
Yeah.
Um, are you kind? Are you in service to others? Because I'm gonna need you to be in service to me, Lord. That's one of my main
Right.
love languages. So, um, yeah, there's a reprioritizing of how you're gonna do this. Now, where I'm gonna find these men at, girl, I don't know. I
Going to
don't
the
know.
comedy show, looking fly, by
Okay, we're gonna
yourselves,
see.
having brunch with yourself, drinking a glass of wine with your sexy glasses on, doing Deondra's work, and somebody like, yeah, yeah, so that's where you're gonna find them. That's where you're gonna find them. Yeah. My other one that I've changed even over the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years, is like, for me, having children and still minor children. I used to look for people who had children, like just
Mm-hmm.
so they get it, the deeper level of that, you can't just have children. You
You have
have
to
to
be a
have
present, yeah,
participated in
present
the
parent.
raising of those children and have a positive relationship with them now. So I don't
Yeah.
want to know if you're just a parent, and I don't want to know that you're there. If you were there and they hate you, that's not the end all be all, but that's a signal, right?
Yeah.
And so right now, like, I'm paying attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
What's your relationship with them now, and were you an active
Right.
participant? Because that can signal to me if you at least have the technical skills
Yeah.
to be the mentor to my children. They don't need a father, they have a great father, an active and
Mm-hmm.
great father. They need yet another display of male excellence in their life, as something to feed the men that they're becoming. And if you didn't even put that on display with your own children, or you don't know what it feels like because you didn't have a positive relationship with your mother or father,
Mm-hmm.
again, I can't expect that out of you.
Mm-hmm.
I got to date who I'm seeing right now. I can't
Yeah.
expect that. Now, if you prove otherwise and I can bear witness to that, that's different. But I'm not going to wait around anymore and expect that because you love me and you are you know, flattering to me, that
Mm-hmm.
that's going to translate into good parenting skills, because my children aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
They're here
Ever.
forever,
Yeah.
and I'm never going to be that kind of mother. So
Mm-hmm.
I got to see some practical application of the parent, or the parental figure in their lives that they need to be. That again, that's the beauty of relationships that don't work out. If you are intentional about seeing how you contributed to whatever that was, and um, can recognize it again when it pops up and actually apply those skills, you should get better at it each time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the goal, right? To get better, to
Right,
learn from your past and get better moving forward.
right. So D, we have gotten, I mean, we went way deeper. I mean, but this is the premise of the show, is to have a real life window into conversations that I have with my amazing friends. And I just want to thank you so much for everything that you offered. And people are going to totally um they're going to be able to move a little different based off the sacrifices and the information that you've shared in your life story. So thank you for that. But we're fun girls. We a lot of our experience together is fun and funny, even if it's not fun and funny in the moment. We laugh at it later. So of course, I'm thinking about, we had several funny moments and fun moments, but the one that stands out the most. And this is the one that I think solidified my affection for you, because I
Oh.
realized that you were about that life. There's nothing more attractive to me in my friendships than a ride or die chick. So I'm gonna share with the audience. If you are the other party of this story, shout outs to you. We cool now, but the story did happen. This is a true story. So we're at the P spot, and we had I would say pretty consistent parking wars.
Mhm.
I was the smart business owner that negotiated parking in this very small lot as a part of my lease. And I can't, listen, if you didn't negotiate parking in your lease, I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, we shared a strip mall with other companies, and very often there was illegal parking happening, such that like our customers, our clients couldn't comfortably get into the facility. So we had to call the parking enforcement so often that like our local ticket person like became not a friend, but he like knew us. Like it was at a point where he was like, just call this number. You don't have to call me. Just call this number because I'm right around the corner. So that's what happened. So there were a few times where some of our neighbors' cars got ticketed. It was like a $250 ticket because you're private parking in private parking. And these happen to sometimes be the cars of our neighboring businesses' clients. So of course that is a hit to your business. They're like, shoot, I mean, the money that I would spend on getting, this done, this service. Okay, long story short, I'm teaching a class. D is in that class. She got her about it law school friends in the class. And I'll tell you, these young ladies, not only were they like a generation younger than me, which means they had all sorts of technical and social media skills and access that I didn't think about. Because I got my first I think cell phone sophomore year in college. Like I came into that.
And it had to be like my undergrad people because I hadn't gone to law school at the time. I
Okay,
was just
it
a
must have been
paralegal.
you were paralegal. That's what it was because
Yeah.
you would go down to the courthouse.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we having a good old time. I had a receptionist slash assistant at the time, and I think wasn't that she called them,
I
or
think she
I don't
called.
know.
Yeah, she
Either way,
called.
I didn't have nothing to do with it. I didn't even know what's going on. I'm in there teaching pole fitness, so we come out, and it was like business wars. And I'm coming out with D, her friends, we all off the high. We just, worked out in 6-inch stilettos, and the neighboring businesses had enough of us. Okay. No more ticketing cars. So they come out in the gang talking stuff, coming across the parking lot like, bop, 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 bop. And when I tell you, it was so shocking, D, because I'm just going to call them service providers. I won't tell their field.
Right.
They brush shoulders with like the Obamas. Like they
Oh, I
provided
didn't know
service.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
provided their services to the White House,
Oh, wow.
specifically our first lady. So to me, that added to the shock and horror because I'm like, you made it. You don't
Uh-huh.
have no business acting like you down here because you got this type of image to uphold up here. And I don't think Michelle Obama would like this kind of behavior.
You know,
So,
Jamaican.
so they
You
came
know, like,
out like boom, boom, boom. And I'm thinking, damn, I got that element to me too, but I ain't trying to do that here. And so you and I are like quickly walking like the other direction, like let's get in our damn car because they on something. You got a lot to lose. I damn sure got a lot to lose at this point. We get in the car and they're like outside of the car trying to like get in our cars. And we're like, I think, did you get in my car with me?
I did because I used to walk to the studio because I didn't live far, so my car wasn't
Okay.
parked out there. I did eventually get in the car. I think it was like they after the assistant called the people and their client's car got towed, they came to your business with all that riffraff, and it was like
Yes.
you had to go handle that or whatever. But it was like class generally had dismissed, and I was just lagging behind because I was just used to always. I lived up there. I'd be up there for like
Yeah.
4 hours at a time, and then go ahead. Then he came with a tool.
Yeah, so you came into my car. The reason that I remember you being in my car, because you was like, oh hell, I know they not.
Yeah, because they was doing a lot. I'm like, I'm not
They
about to
was
leave
doing
you
a
up
lot,
here.
pulling on the car. They had the women doing this, and then the males. The males was out there acting like they wanted to fight me. And
They were
by
acting like
virtue
they were
of
about to
your
bust out your lights.
right, so yes, they were trying to get in the car. They're pulling on the car, and then it sort of culminated into the owner of that business kicking my damn car, like putting
Mm-hmm.
a dent in the car. He didn't kick the window.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is a male. This is a business owner. This is somebody who, serves Michelle Obama and the Obamas out. And so I remember you jumping into action immediately. You was like, oh, hell no. You calling the cops, this, and that. You had a whole logistical plan. Long story short, I had cameras all over the place.
Yeah.
So, when the
Long
cops
story
came,
short.
they were like, you want them to go? Hell yeah, they got to
Yeah.
learn. They got to
Yeah.
learn. And in the in the aftermath of that, I remember feeling like I had a whole team of ride or die chicks. It was like you had all the information on all the parties. I think through social media, these are people. All I knew like the owner's name.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the rest of their name.
Well, yeah, I used to be at the courthouse all the time, so I went and just looked him up and
You
whoever else
looked
we
him.
needed to.
Well, I think you had gone on social media first and
Oh,
you
did I?
found out the names of the other people through their
Okay.
social media such that you could go look them up.
Okay.
And I remember thinking, oh, like if I didn't have this chick on my team, or better yet, if I ever made an enemy out of this chick,
No.
But yeah, so that's one of the most. It was
But
something that
what's really
had
funny
a
about that story, I will add, is when the cop got there and you were like, "No, I want to press charges, blah blah blah." And because of the work that I was doing at the time, I was working for children and families at that time too, and I saw a lot of like DV, a lot of like uh threats and assaults and batteries types of charges. I knew that DC had a charge called attempted threats, right? And the
Mm.
cop was trying to say, well, like, what can I really arrest him for? Blah, blah, blah. He didn't really put his hands on y'all. He put his hands on the car. I said, this is an attempted threat. This is an attempted threat. I know the code, blah, blah, blah. And Michaela goes, she's a lawyer. And I was not. I was not. But it eventually led to the cop going ahead and putting him in cuffs and telling him, all right,
That
you have to
listen,
come with me.
that's fun. The whole thing, it's like one of those things that was just so surreal. I mean, the outcome. Fast forwarded through all of that, the outcome was really that we actually, a good friend of mine, and this. Okay, so I sort of am known in this community, but he was as well.
Yeah.
And so we had a mutual friend that was a tenured police officer and has some clout in the area. And I think either through story, like either through him connecting or him being like catching wind that, the guy had gotten arrested, brokered a sit down between
Mm-hmm.
me and him and was like, look, this don't even make sense. I know you, I know you. And we
Mm-hmm.
kind of we talked about it. And I, made the point that I have this real thing about just men being aggressive to women. It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is or anything like that. I don't care. Like
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, like, men have to respect women and women have to respect men. So we winded up actually squashing the beef there.
Yeah.
I decided to drop the charges. He fully took care of the damage to the
Event.
car,
Yeah.
did that pretty swiftly. He issued me what I thought was a sincere apology. And then fast forward, like 5 something years later, he actually became a member of the new gym that I was a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of like kiki. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, it's one of those funny things. But I remember, like, again, you talk about layers. I remember thinking, like, this a ride or die right here. This is my girl right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't play those games. I'm better at protecting people that I love, even over myself. So yeah.
Weren't you a part of when we did our video shoot and I had brought on this crazy intern. I'm up to a fault. I'm always trying to give people opportunities, like to a
Uh-huh.
fault. And I brought on this crazy intern from a local university, and then
Uh-huh.
she kept taking pictures of me and during the video shoot when I didn't want to, and then tried to check me when I was like, I don't want to take a picture. And she wound up stealing our footage. Do you remember that? This
I
was at the
kind of do
very
vaguely remember that.
and you were like,
Vaguely.
and then so where she messed up is she left her really expensive tripod at the club. She called
Mm,
herself going on lunch. She took the video, like the video and the photography footage that I had was like that was mine, not
mhm,
property. And she called herself, but she left her tripod, which was like $100 tripod.
mhm.
Then she got stank and then tried to get the tripod back. And I feel like it was you that was like, no, she got to come get this tripod, go hide this tripod in the feel like
That
that
sounds
was
like
you
me. That
coaching
sounds
me.
like
Like,
me. It
yeah,
does.
she got it.
People
She
tell
either
me
got to
my
come
memory
back or
kind of sucks, but
she's
people tell me all the time
SOL.
about stuff that I did, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
I wish we had a permanent photography, a production crew following the piece. But it's some of the best times of my life. But it was definitely never short on the dramatics.
Mhm.
But it always ended up in laughs and what I feel is like empowerment and
Yeah.
yeah, it was yeah. So anyway, that wraps us. Did you want to talk about anything else, my dear?
I
I
don't
hate
think
calling you
so.
my little sister, but you are like my little sister because I
Yeah, I
don't want
mean,
to
that's
diminish
it's
you into
fitting.
little anything. You are like my baby. I really love you.
Oh,
I love you with all of my heart. Like
yes,
I
I love
wish
you
I
back. Like,
had a sister like you.
thank you for giving me the chance to be on your podcast. I will say that when I met you through the Peace Spot, that was also a very significant turning point in my life where my confidence in myself increased. I had always been kind of an athletic girl, had done like gymnastics, volleyball, cheerleading. Pole is a whole different type of workout. It was the best shape I have ever been in my life during that time period. No diet. And I loved your, to this day, even when I do pole, at my new studio here in Atlanta, I think strong first, sexy second. And it
Mm.
is so important to me to live that, to embody that. And I appreciate you for the mentor that you were and have been, and for always pouring into me and encouraging me and hyping me up, and also giving me a little lesson on, forget that sometimes too. Um, so just thank you for being you, and I'm just appreciative that we have stayed connected over all this time since
My sister.
like 2016.
Wow, that's a long
Yeah,
time.
it's a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah, I appreciate you allowing me to, be there for you. And yeah, I love you. I love you with all of my heart. So, yeah, you won't be you couldn't have got rid of me if you wanted to, but it's good to hear that you didn't want to. Yes. Well, I'll be down to visit soon. It sounds like you'll be up, up here to visit. So I definitely am overdue on my hug. I want to hug you. I want you to know
Yeah,
that I'm here. You have, at least one person that understands you. I think you have a lot of people that are here with you, and keep being a pillar and an example of strength and resilience and beauty and all those things that you are. Before we get all teared up, we
I know.
gangsters. We gangsters.
I
We can't
know.
be here tearing up, getting all mushy. I want to, say thank you again. Thank you to the audience that's watching. This wraps up another amazing episode of Live, Learn, and Exercise. Of course, if you've found this helpful, if this resonated, please go ahead and subscribe to the page, like this video, share this video, watch this video, rewatch this video, and continue to tune in. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Welcome to the after show, y'all. I had a great time catching up with someone who I really, really respect and admire. And once again, I want to thank Diondra for being so genuine and so authentic and so truthful as she relayed her stories and dug deep into a journey that has been equal parts exhilarating and challenging. Some of the takeaways that I received are this notion of the power of stillness, right? Diondra talked about finding God in stillness, and that was echoed by the teachings of the Benedictine Catholic school that my son attends, and it's a very powerful idea. I added the idea of finding yourself in stillness and being one with your thoughts and being one with who you are, who you were, who you want to be. Stillness is a very, very powerful but elusive acquisition as you're going through transitions and change. And so what I took away from our conversation is that we need to be intentional and very protective about creating the space for stillness for the sake of growth. Now, once you etch out that time for stillness, what will you do with that stillness? How will you use it? Will you jam-pack your schedule and your time with more distractions, or will you really sit in that and own that? And so that's something, it's a gift that I want to give to you all as far as thinking about that and journaling about that. Second takeaway was this idea of intended outcomes, and I talked about that in regard to my children. And from that, what I want to communicate is that as we shift with situations and the people with whom we engage, always trying to be cognizant of your intended outcome. That's in relationships, at work, while parenting, wherever. Is my tone, is my approach, is my environment conducive to the intended outcome that I desire? And just taking that time before engaging or responding or immersing yourself in a situation, just taking that time to really come to grips with what you actually want out of that, and then shifting or changing possibly your approach to set yourself up for that success is, again, another powerful revelation that kind of came out in our conversation. And last but not least, just being cognizant of this shifting, shedding, acquisition that comes with change. A lot of times we kind of mourn the loss of relationships or friendships or the loss of things as we're going through these huge life shifts. And I challenge Diondra, and I challenge you to embrace that. Change requires the loss of some old ways and some old thought processes. And if your friends and your family are caught in the old ways, sometimes it costs us temporarily or permanently some friends and some loved ones. I heard on the show recently, sometime God breaks our heart to save our soul. And I believe that wholeheartedly. So as you are entering new phases of your life, your career, your friendships, your sisterships, your relationships, I'm going to challenge you to embrace the healthy change that comes with that. Sometimes that's shedding and acquiring things, and sometimes it's just doing nothing. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the show, and you know the drill. Like, share, comment, and definitely subscribe, and I'll see you next time. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the host or affiliate content providers. The information shared is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, including but not limited to medical, psychological, or coaching services. Listeners are encouraged to consult with their qualified practitioners for guidance tailored to their personal needs and circumstances.